evening. You're with the news here. I'm Seher Zama. We're making a start with the ongoing dispute and border tensions that continue between Assam and Mizoram. After very minutely scaling down their attack on each other, what we're looking at now is advisory versus advisory between the two state governments. The latest in the bone of contention here, in a travel advisory that was issued by the Assam government. Many are calling this unprecedented, never having been seen before in independent India. This was a day after Assam advised its people not to travel to Assam, calling it unsafe, not to travel to Mizoram, calling it unsafe. Mizoram Chief Minister then reacted, tweeting out saying that Northeast will always remain united. He's also in fact shared a government notification here, which was issued a day before Assam's travel advisory. He tried to underscore that there will be no such restrictions who are non-Mizos, non-residents who are staying in Mizoram. Travelling through even the disputed Kolasib district will continue. He has assured of their safety. But let's also get you this exclusive that we have. Mirror Now earlier spoke to the Mizoram Chief Minister, Zoram Thanga, where he said that the border standoff now needs to be settled, but it has to be done amicably here. And Assam must stop making excuses. Take a listen in.
Now, Assam is like the mother for all the northeastern states, and threatening. And on this day, they have even attacked the Meghalaya side and in Arunachal side also. Therefore, and at the same time, making a lot of excuses like this is prompted by Myanmar refugee willing to settle in Assam, which we don't permit, and like that the drug cases inspire all these things, and all this making a lame excuse. I believe that even the present economic blockade that they have done to Mizoram, central government will step in, and at this pandemic period, situation will be normal with the help of the central government.
We have in fact seen that there have been a number of meetings which were held by the centre, even recently, just ahead of the clash as well. And on Wednesday also, there was a high-level meeting which was chaired by the centre. Why has that not in fact helped in any way in easing the situation? Even after the clash, we saw that the Home Ministry level meeting was held. Both sides were called, senior officials from both sides. Your Chief Secretary also was part of that meeting. Has that helped in any way in easing the tension?
Not yet. Even it was signed by the two chief secretaries. And that all this should be settled peacefully on the table. And then arrangements should be made under the auspices of the union government that deployment of the central forces at the border area should be there. And all these things were there. But situation remains the same.
Are you planning to move court, sir? Is there any scenario that you can see where you might have to move court?
Well, no, not yet. Everything has to be settled by sitting together at the table peacefully. As we have done, we have resolved under the Union Home Minister there in the Shillong meeting. I still abide by that understanding.
Let's get in more voices. We have Mr. Karma Paljor, who's the editor-in-chief of East Mojo. Karma, good evening. Many thanks for speaking with us here. In your understanding, why is this particular flare-up between the two states on a border dispute that has been decades old, has flared up in this unprecedented manner, where we are seeing a Twitter spat between the two chief ministers, we're seeing advisory versus advisory that are being sent out, and yet despite the centre's intervention to an extent that we've seen here on this, it isn't calming down angers on ground.
Yes, it isn't calming down anger on the ground because of the fact that, policemen have lost their lives. And because of that, the entire scenario has changed. We know that this is a long-standing issue between the two states, but the flare-ups have been happening on and off. I think this is the longest that we've seen from October last year, when some Mizo homesteads were burnt down. We've seen heightened from both sides, especially from Assam, with police personnel posted at the border. They've been aggressively trying to remove what they believe to be encroachers on Assamese land. So that has been going on. And because of this, there was already a lot of animosity on the ground. Despite efforts, despite the CRPF being there, and sadly on that day, particular day, when there was firing, CRPF team was found wanting. So what happened? Where was the lapse? Now, all these questions will only be answered by a probe, if any.
That's right. But Karma, where has the leadership, the concerned leadership, be it in the state, be it in the center, would it be fair to say failed? Because there is an existing NEDA, which is now there in power in some number or form or the other across all northeastern states here. It was brought in with great hope in something that would hold all states together in great bonhomie and peace. And it seems that that has also failed, because very specifically in a significant word that we had from the Mizoram Chief Minister here, saying that the Assam Chief Minister, in his capacity of being the chairperson of NEDA as well, does not have a good big brother attitude. It's a big brother arm flexing muscle attitude here that shouldn't be felt by other states.
That is what is missing. Leadership, statesman is what we miss in this entire debacle. Even after that, and when this was going on, we saw the two chief ministers spat openly on Twitter, one. And then we saw, especially the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, sharing video footage to show who was right, who was wrong. Perhaps it was not the time to really, blame each other. When a tragedy had struck, it was time to calm nerves. It was time to talk. Although on the part of the Assam Chief Minister, he did immediately reach out to Zoram Thanga for talks. That sadly didn't happen. The second most important thing, as you pointed out, is that Himanta Biswa Sarma, as the convener of NEDA, is not just looked up by Assamese people. He's looked up to by the entire Northeast, and he's proved himself to be a capable administrator for all the years that he's been in office. And he's also proved himself to be one of the leaders who's managed to stitch alliances together in the entire Northeast. So we would have expected that he would step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
And he would have brought peace.
Right. So Karma, I'm going to take this point here. The expectations, there are more from the Assam Chief Minister. We connected with the spokesperson, Assam BJP here, Pabitra Margarita, connected with us here. Thanks for being with us. Good evening. In your view, the nature of expectation here that would even perhaps come in from Mizoram, that there has to be a reach out. Even the Mizoram Chief Minister, while speaking to us here, said that we are expecting this not to intensify any further, any worse than what it is, and that we're expecting that this be resolved amicably.
Yeah, the role of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, is appreciated even by the people of Mizoram. Because, you see, although we lost our 6 Jawans, Assam police Jawans, in this tragic incident, both the police, even you can see the visuals where the superintendent of police had said over phone to his counterpart of that district where this incident took place, the police stopped firing. Although we had more than 200 police personnel there, we did not fire, and instead we just requested them to stop fire. But the miscreants, or as well as the Mizoram police, maybe they, they fired, and we lost.
Mr. Margarita, is this further going to this is going to further fall into the pit of a blame game, or are we expecting, at least for the Assam Chief Minister, also in his capacity of being the chairperson of NEDA here, to reach out to Assam in a manner to be calling for talks, not being issuing a tribal advisory in this sense, which warns people of his state here, calling Mizoram unsafe?
You see, just the rule of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma. Even after the loss of 6 personnel, and the role of the superintendent of police. And then again, when he reached to the press, Dr. Sharma, our Honorable Chief Minister, had said that each and every citizen residing from Mizoram residing here in Assam, our own brothers and sisters, we are with them and we are with the people of Mizoram as well. But please stop this blame game.
That's right.
And,
no, that's a similar advisory that we've heard from Mizoram here as well. The Mizoram government saying all non-Mizos, specifically indicating even Assamese who travel and live in Mizoram for work, are safe. That is the nature of reach out and advisory that we've seen from Mizoram as well. Do you think that this is something that two state chief ministers can no longer resolve this? It is time for a stronger intervention from the central government. We had the Home Minister speak to both chief ministers 3 days ago here. But do you think it's time for more? Is that the expectation here?
The political forum, and of course it has got some limitations to instruct to the state government. Okay, it cannot instruct ABCD to the state governments. Of course, NEDA took initiative to hold a series of meetings for amicably resolving all these border disputes and everything. But NEDA, being a political forum of different political parties, it cannot instruct the government to do so and so. And you see, although people of Assam and the government of Assam are taking positive steps to solve it amicably, but I shouldn't mention the names of the organizations. So many organizations from the Mizoram side, it's very unfortunate to see even the strong students' union groups and even political parties, even national political parties, they tweeted shame on Assam. They tweeted, treating the people across the border, even the
right.
residents of...
So largely what we're sensing here is a blame game. Tempers are still high, and it is a blame game between Assam and Mizoram that we're still continuing to see here. Pavitra, Margarita, I appreciate you speaking with us. Also, Karma Paljor, for giving us a balanced insight here on what has really happened there. We'll have to leave it at that. We're slipping into a very tiny breather. Stay with us.